So here I am today, not to talk about what I have done, but it's more about how many times I have failed in my life and how much struggle I had in the past.
So I'm here today to talk about, not to talk about what I have done. I will talk about how many times I failed in the past and how much I struggled in the past.
But before I start my story, I will just show you a book. People talk a lot about self-help, so I brought a book today. And about 4 weeks ago, my best friend gave me this book. The title is Your One Word. Sorry to advertise.
So before I start my story, I will introduce a book. I bought it today, and 4 weeks ago, my best friend, gave me this book, and with title Your One Word. Sorry, advertise this book.
Right here in the back of the book, the writer said and question and challenge yourself. If you use one single word to describe your whole life, the meaning of your life, target of your life, what would that word be?
And right here in the back of this book, the writer say, and the writer asked question and challenging for you. If you use the single word to describe the whole life, the meaning of your life and the target of your life, what would that word be?
He continues, I'm sure many of you here do not have the answer yet. Is it true?
And he continues, I'm sure that you don't have you have question, you have the answer. Yes, is it true?
Yes, but things have come. When I read that question about 4 weeks ago, 2 minutes later, I said, oh, I'm not. It came so easy, it came so instantly. And I started to prepare for my TED Talk today, and I looked at my whole life journey, 42 years of living on this earth, working as a teacher for nearly 20 years. And I started to...
And when I read that question, 4 years or 4 weeks ago, and after 2 minutes, the target, the purpose of my life is come so easily and instantly, and today I will prepare my TED Talk to and look back the life when I've gone through.
Look at everything I have gone through. And so that's what I'm going to share with you. I have my keyword here, but I'm not going to show you until the end. Keep that as a secret. And I want you to walk through stories in my life, and hopefully you find out why I came to realize the purpose of my life. I want to share with you that.
And I also some keywords. I don't saw the whole keywords. I also the keywords, and I don't saw the whole talk. I want to share with you. I want to listen my story. My story and my story.
So story time, okay? I was born into a family of 6 children, 5 boys and 1 girl, in a very remote area in the Lam province. In the 1970s, life was just so huge struggle for many people. And just raising up 6 children in a family was a huge struggle for my parents. Plus, my father used to work for the youth. Life was just so huge struggle for many people. And just raising up 6 children in a family was a huge struggle for my parents.
And I was born in a sick person, and 5 boys and 1 girl in a remote area, and at that time, had many struggle, and it's difficult for my parents to jungle with raising of 6 children.
Plus, my father used to work for the US Navy before 1975. And so life in the 70s was a little bit insecure at that time.
And my father worked in Navy, in the US Navy in 1975, and in the life of 70s, the life is insecure.
And everybody in my village at that time, people stopped going to school. All of the kids would just stay at home and have fun. And so being born into that family, the first thing I experienced is actually I have a very carefree life. So much fun as a child in the field with the buffalo, with our friends.
And everyone in my village started to go to school, and they stay at home. To have with their family, and being at that time, I live in a carry life, so much fun. I live in a child with other field and with in the field with buffalo with their friends.
But it's also the first moment in my life I started to experience the feeling of shameful, the feeling of being discriminated because you are poor.
And the first moment I was experiencing is that's the feeling of a shameful and being discriminated because you're poor.
And I started to see tears from my mom's eyes every time she could experience the feeling of being looked at, not for her, but for the children. And deep down, I started to realize what it means to try and to become successful right at that time.
And I see the tears from I see tears from my mother's. She cry not for her for her children, and at that time I realized that I have to try. I have to try to become successful at that time.
But my life at that time was so quiet until the age of 5. Something terrible happened to me. My parents sent me to school.
And the time and And when I was 5 years, when I was 5 years old, the time is very terrible because my parents sent me to school.
I had long days just playing with my friends. I enjoy more in the field rather than in school. But I could not understand in the middle of the village there where everybody cares more about food and clothes. My father was very committed to education.
And I have to enjoy playing with friends more to school, and I and when everyone in the outside care about food and clothes, but my father was very committed to education.
And I cannot remember how many times he asked everybody in the family to sit down in the evening with the oil lamp in the window in the 1970s and 1980s. And he kept reminding us about what would happen if we decide to quit school. The first thing we would do is to get everybody out of the family if we ever thought about not going to school.
And I don't remember how many times he asked our family to sit down in the evening, and he reminding us that what happened if we decide to quit school, if we will get our body somebody out to our home.
So he was very committed, and it's still a very secret to me now where the idea came from. Because everybody else, even in my family, going against education. So being in that situation and in that context, I learned the first lesson of being grateful to having such a caring and loving home and committed father in my life.
And the first lesson, and being at that time, the first lesson I have learned is being grateful. I'm grateful because I have a loving and caring mom and a committed father in my life.
But then, I know that I could not escape education. I prefer, sometimes I feel jealous with other kids in the village because they have long days playing. I sacrifice half of my day at school, not enjoying, to be honest. Sorry, teachers.
And sometimes I was very jealous with other kids because they have a time to play in the outside, and I have to sacrifice half day to at school. And sorry, teacher.
And then I become a teacher. Okay. But
and I now become a teacher.
My life went on to secondary school and then high school, very quiet. The only thing I could do is to stay focused. I was very obedient in that time, just listening to my parents and the teachers all the time. I tried to study hard.
And when I study at high school and when I study at secondary school and high school, I will stay. I just stay focused and study and listen to my parents and my teacher. to my teacher. I was very obedient, and I was study very hard.
Strangely, the best score I got in high school was 6.72. I could never be a good student in high school, even I know that I have dropped out. I was so bad in high school.
And the best score I got in high school is 6.72, 6.72, and 6.72, and I think I was good. I was a good student in high school. I was not in a good. I was be in the. I was not be a good student in high school.
But I did start to feel that I enjoy more school. And this is also the stage. At school, I started to experience what people call farewell. At the end of year 12, I took the university entrance exam.
And I feel to enjoy more at school, and this next day
I failed first year. At the end of year 12, I took the university entrance exam. I failed first year. Interestingly, I didn't feel sad, not disappointed, but I began to see in the eyes of people who love me and who want the best for my life. The look of disappointment and more expectation from me. The look of disappointment and more expectation from me. So,
and at the end of 12, I took the entrance exam in university, and I failed the first year. And I don't, and I didn't feel sad and disappointed. But when I see the eyes of who love me and trust me, they look at with disappointed and more expectation from me.
so I felt sad for 2 days, packed my luggage, going back to Bangkok City, spending 1 year reviewing the lesson, spending 1 year, packed my luggage, going back to Bangkok City, spending 1 year reviewing the lesson, taking the exam again the second year, and luckily I passed, becoming a student at university.
And I decided to pack my luggage and going back to Kentucky University and take the exam again, and in the second year, and I'm so lucky because I passed. I passed and become a student at university.
But I hit the wall again right on the first day I stepped into university. I was among 255 students at university at that time, not understanding a word of English. At that time, not understanding a word of English. 255 students at university at that time. At university. But I hit the wall again right on the first day I stepped into university. I was among 255 students at university at that time, not understanding a word of English. Day I stepped into the university. I was among 255 students at university at that time, not understanding a word of English.
And when I stepped into the university, I was among about 255 students not understand the word of English.
And so in the first month of the university, many times I have thought about quitting university, going back home. Life is easier in the summer, right? But then I felt so lucky at that time to have one of my teachers at the university. He understood all of this.
And I think I thought that I would quit school and going back home. Like it was easier. It was easier and it was easier.
As a farmer, right? But then I felt so lucky at that time to have one of my teachers at the university. He understood all of the psychological. Life is easier as a farmer, right? But then I felt so lucky at that time to have one of my teachers at the university. He understood all of the psychological process the student. He sat down patiently, explaining, encouraging, and supporting him. So we overcame the problem thanks to that teacher. That's the second person that I feel so grateful to in my life.
And I felt so lucky because I have a teacher. I have a teacher. He understand. He understood of the psychology of student, and he was very patient, explaining, encouraging, and supporting our student to overcome the problem. And this is the second person I was be grateful to.
And all I could do in my 4 years was to stay focused. I never considered myself to be an intelligent person, but I did work very hard for 4 years. No playing, no Facebook, no computer at that time, luckily. So
And for years, I was not an intelligent person, but I did work very hard. And no playing, no playing, no Facebook, no computer at that time. So
after 4 years, rewards came. I graduated top one in my class out of 255 students. It was the biggest achievement ever in my life at that time. After that, I was granted the position at the university to become a lecturer. Wow, you can fly. After that, I was granted the position at the university to become a lecturer.
And I would and after 4 years, I graduated and I became a lecturer at university.
Wow, you can fly. So I feel so happy that I could see the happiness more in my parents' eyes, in the people who have trusted me, rather than for myself. So
And I was very happy, and even I could see the eye from my parents and person who love me and trust me.
you look around, you see a lot of successful people in life. My success at that time is nothing compared to others. But if I put into my position as somebody from a poor family, from the remote area, struggling through life to survive at the university, Achieving such success at the beginning in the life is so extraordinary, so there's nothing compared to all. But if I put into my position that somebody from a poor family, from a remote area, struggling through life to survive at the university, achieving such success at the beginning in the life is so extraordinary, so significant to me.
And you can see that a lot of people around you is very successful. So my successful is not compared with others, but when I put my position, that somebody from the poor family, from the struggle life, and I feel very extraordinary, and significant to me to achieve success like that, like this.
So my journey began here at this university in the past 19.5 years. I began working here in 2001 as a teacher, lecturer. The first 5 years for me was amazing. I really enjoyed working. I began working here in 2001 as a teacher. So my journey began here at this university in the past 19.5 years. I began working here in 2001 as a teacher, lecturer. The first 5 years for me was amazing. I really enjoyed working.
And here 2021 I become a lecturer in the 1945 years, and this is the first year I realized that I was working hard.
When I began as a teacher, lecturer. The first 5 years for me was amazing. I really enjoyed working.
I really enjoy working.
So
here I am today not to talk about what I have done, but it's more about how many times I have failed in my life and how much struggle I have in the past.
But before
I start my story, I'll just show you a book before self-help. So
I brought a book
today,
and about 4 weeks ago,
my best friend gave me this. The title is Your One Word. Sorry to add the title right here.
In the back of the book.
Right here, the writer say, and questions, and challenge yourself. If you use one single word to describe your whole life, the meaning of your life, the target of your life, what would that word be?
And he
continues, I'm sure many of you here. It's true. Yes. First thing have come
when
I read that question about 4 weeks ago. 2 minutes later, I found it came so instantly. And I started to prepare for my TED Talk today, and I look at my whole life journey, 42 years of living on this earth, working as a teacher for nearly 20 years. And I started to look at everything I have gone through. So that's what I'm going to share with you. I have a word, but I'm not going to tell you.
And I want you to walk through the
story in my life. And hopefully you find out why I came to realize the purpose of my life and I want to share with you.
So story
time.
I was born into a family of 6 children, 5 boys and 1 girl, in very remote area in Vilang province in the 1970s. There were just some hills, some growth for many people, and just raising up 6 children in a family was a huge structure for my parents. My father used to work for the US Navy before 1930 or a little bit insecure at that time. And everybody in my village at that time, people stopped going to school. All of the kids would stay at home and have with the family. So being born into the family, the first thing I experienced was actually I had a very caring life, so much fun. As a child in the field with the buffalo, with a friend. But it's also the first moment I started to experience the feeling of thankful, the feeling of being discriminated because you're poor. And I started to see tears from my mom's eyes every time she could experience the feeling of being not for her, for her children. And deep down, I started to realize what it means to try and to become second. But my life at that time was so quiet until the age of 5. Something terrible happened to me. My parents sent me to school. I had long days just playing with my friends, and I enjoyed more in the field rather than in the school. But I could not understand. In the middle of the village, where everybody cared for food and clothes. My father was very committed to education, and I cannot remember how many times he asked everybody in the family to sit down in the evening with the all-light needle in 1970, 1980, and he kept reminding us about what would happen. The first thing we would do is to get everybody out of the family and not to go to school. So he was very committed, and is still a very serious to me. Like where Eddie come from. Everybody going against education. So being in that situation, I learned the first lesson of being grateful, to having such a caring and loving mom and a committed father in my life. But then, I know that not scared from education, and because sometimes I feel so jealous. In my village, I spent half my day at school, not enjoying, to be honest. So it just and I become a teacher, right? It's true. But my life went on to secondary school, and in high school, very quiet. The only to stay focused, I was very obedient. That time, just listen to parents and my teacher. On that time, I tried to study hard, strongly. The best score I got in high school was 6.272. I could never be a good student in high school, even I know that I have tried a lot. I was so bad in high school. But I just got to feel that I enjoy my school. And this is also the days. At school, I started to experience people come here. At the end of the year 20, I took the university entrance exam. I failed first year. Interestingly, I didn't feel sad, not disappointed, but I began to see in the eyes of people who love me and who want me the best for my life, a look of disappointment and more expectation from me. So I first said for 2 days, packed my luggage, going back to university, spending 1 year within the lesson, taking the exam again. The second year, luckily I passed, become a student at university. But I hate the war again right first day I stepped into the university. I was
255 students at university at that time, not understanding a word of English.
And so in the first
And so in
month
the first month of the university, many times I have talked about teaching university. Going to like fly is Easter is
but
partner
then
work,
I felt so
but I
lucky
felt so
that
lucky at that time
my teachers,
to have on a teacher he understood on psychology process of studying about,
sat down
and he sat down, he explaining, encouraging,
and support.
and supporting.
So we
So it
overcame
will overcome the problem thanks to that teacher. That's the second person that I felt so grateful to in my life.
And all I could do.
And I could do in my 4 years was to say, focus. I never consider myself to be an intelligent person, but I did work very hard. Through 4 years, no plane, no Facebook, no computer at that time. No plane.
So after 4
So
years,
after 4 years,
I
I graduated
top one in my
top one in my class out of 255 students.
It was
It was the biggest achievement ever in my life at that time. After that, I was rated for the position of the university to become a lecturer. You can lie.
So I feel so happy.
I feel so happy that I could see the happiness more in my parents' eyes and the people who had trusted me rather than for myself. So if you look around, you see a lot. My success at that time was nothing compared to on at, but if somebody from a poor family from remote area struggling to survive at university, achieving success at the beginning in their life is so extraordinary and so significant to me.
So my journey began here.
So my journey began in university in the past 25 years. It began here in China.
The first 5
5 years for me was amazing.
really enjoyed.
I really enjoy working.
And